Thank you for joining me today. I have here, I hope, a simple fix. Sometimes I dream of simple fixes and they end up being a little bit more involved, but I think this is actually a simple fix. I went to a friend's house the other day and one of her friends had asked if she knew of anybody who could mend a chair seat, and so I was given this. So let's get on with it. I think we need to look at the problem first, which is this seam has come undone, which is fair enough. The second thing we're going to look at is the piping and the way the piping has been done. I put the piping around the outside edge and then put the border on. But as I look at this, there's stitching across the piping here, all the way across, and the piping here, which means that the piping and the border are integral. Having worked that out, I could, if I wanted a hard day's labour, undo all of this, pull this out, unsecure the top from the bottom, stitch up, secure it and put it back in. But I think I can save this. I'm really not sure why it's come out, because the stitching should have been secure all the way across. So I have here upholstery thread, and now I've just got to find a needle that I can thread with that. I think the first thing I'm going to do is cut that one back because I don't need it, and then cut this one back as well because I don't need that either. There we go. And now for the sewing. I've got a little knot on the end, but I'm going to start at the top here and come out on the fold. And I can see where I think the stitches were. The stitches seem to be on that blue line. So I'm going to go down the blue line just a little ways and up like that, through the fold. This can be quite awkward to get it exactly through the fold, about 1/4 of an inch I think, and then opposite. I'm going to have to keep pulling it out so it stretches into shape through about 1/4 of an inch, a little bit tight, through the fold. This is a canvas or ticking, and it's really quite awkward for me to sew through. So I'm trying to get the original stitches, but I think I've missed. So I've gone to the other side like that, pull it through. I would normally do a double thread, but I intend to come up a second time, so that should hold everything securely. Down about 1/4 of an inch again, and up, in and across about 1/4 of an inch and out like that, and then across again. And if I keep it straight and repeat the ladder stitch along that line, so I'm adjusting it each time I set a stitch, it should go in really nicely. I don't think I have to go all the way to the other end, but I certainly need to overstitch a few of the stitches so that everything stays secure. If you're unsure where you went in, pull the thread across and put your needle down into where the thread comes across, because it's easy to sometimes mismatch. It's an easy fix, as I say. With this, I don't have to do it on the machine. I've just got to do this carefully. Preferably use the old stitch marks. Makes life a little bit easier. So now I'm where the original stitches were, and I'm going to go in where that stitch comes out to secure the stitch, and across into the other side where the stitch was, and down. And I'll do that about 1 inch down. I usually overlap my stitches about 1 inch when I'm sewing on a machine, and I'm going to do exactly the same. Just overstitch it about 1 inch, which doesn't quite take me to the bottom where the piping is, but it certainly takes me towards there. And even if I haven't caught the stitches, this just makes it firm enough to hold into place. I'm going to do one more set like that. I might actually go all the way down so that the stitching is even when there's stress on there, because the sewn stitches seem to be a bit looser than my hand stitched stitches. I did cut enough thread to be able to go all the way down, so I think that's what I'll do, is I'll just go all the way down, and then it cannot come undone. There we go, all the way to the end like this. Oh dear, that last stitch is going to be really awkward to set. So I think I'll turn it all the way around the other side like this, and that's where I was trying to go in. I'm going to just come up a little bit further and do a loop like that and stitch all the way up the other side. Now ideally the stitches should cross over in exactly the same spot, but I'm not going to worry about it. If I wanted to do that, I would have taken 2 needles and swapped them over like you would in leather work, so it gives a nice finish. But I think this hand stitching will hold fast, and although I'm pulling my stitches tight, I'm not pulling it so it wrinkles the fabric. Here we are, nice and simple. Just takes a few minutes to do, but it's easier to do it this way than to pull everything out and machine it on the sewing machine. Getting the needle into the folded side of the fabric is a little bit awkward at times. I'm probably catching the thread that was originally in there, so it's a little bit thicker. And while I'm at that point, I know I cut the threads back earlier, I'm just going to cut this one right back like that, work out which side I'm on, which is this side, and just carry on up to the top. My cat is trying to sleep and I'm just disturbing her today. So either they have to go exact opposites to each other so it looks like a sewn line, or slightly mismatched will work too. As I come in at the top like this, pull it in tight when I get there. Little girl, you're kind of in the way. Coming up a little bit off here, as you can see, and I'm going to pull this in. It's a little bit stretchy there, I don't like that. And in, straighten the top out so it's not so folded like that, and maybe I can get there. I think I'm going to come in here and up into the base where the piping is, because if I do that I can put my stitches along, do little back stitches. So I go forward a long way like that, back a short way so it looks like it's part of the weaving, and then forward, and I'm going to come out where it's white, or cream I should say. This is awkward because the fabric is quite thick, and I'm going along where it's thickest because this is the front of the cushion. You see all the lines line up, so I'm putting my securing stitches along the side so it's not that visible. Just a couple more, and actually I'm going to go through the piping a little way too. The more little stitches you put in, the more secure it's going to be. And get rid of that. There we go. That's my invisible repair. It might show just a little bit, but I don't think it will. The securing goes all the way along to here, so that is not coming undone very easily. The advantage of doing the piping integral to the border is you can easily line up your stripes. Now personally, I prefer to do the border on an angle, because if I don't line these stripes up, it doesn't matter, because the angling of the fabric or the pattern just knocks your eye. But I always put it on separately, just in case something like this happens. It's a lot easier to mend if it's not attached to the piping, which is why I hand sewed it. Thank you for joining me on this small project. I think the mend has turned out quite well. I hope that my friend's friend, I'm sure she will be because it's on the front edge of her chair cover, so it was quite visible. If you want to hear more from me, please subscribe, hit the bell button, and a few thumbs up would be brilliant. And in the meantime, take care. See you later. Ciao.